Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to Gift of Healing TV. I'm Sarah Jane, and I am delighted for this program to be joined by Bradford Tilden. Bradford, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today.
Thank you so much, Sarah Jane. It's wonderful to be here.
And
I am.
Yeah, I'd let you explain where you are to the folks.
So, uncontrollably, I am traveling, and I am at a cafe, and this is the quietest place I could find for this interview to take place. So I apologize in advance if there's any ambient sounds that occur. They are the product of a relatively quiet cafe environment.
So thank you for sharing that. So folks, ignore any sounds that you hear from the backgrounds. But let me introduce Bradford first. Oh, we're going to be talking about, Bradford's going to be sharing about Lemurian seed crystals and the mystery within. So I'm really looking forward to learning more about these myself. So Bradford Tilden, MM, CMT, UWT, is a best-selling author, composer, classical pianist, sound healer, crystal healer, universal white time teacher, founder of the Lemurian School of Intuitive Natural Healing, and spiritual mentor. He graduated magna cum laude from Amherst College in 2002, became a certified massage therapist in 2004, attended classes at the Globe Institute of Sound Healing and Psychoacoustic Music in San Francisco in 2006, and received a master's degree in music composition in 2014 from the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. His mission is to inspire, educate, and activate people to bring about healing and awakening to the greater aspect of higher consciousness. He teaches practical tools for self-empowerment, stress management, and spiritual growth. He offers guided meditations and sound journey concerts, private healing and coaching sessions, workshops, and certification classes. He composes music for meditation, relaxation, and healing. And we'll give you the links to those later. Bradford, welcome to the program. It is wonderful to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
That's all right. Share a little of your story and how this working with the Lemurian seed crystals all came about.
Yes, I never intended to become a crystal healer in this lifetime. It wasn't on my to-do list. It wasn't what I wanted to grow up to be, but it just happened intuitively. And it happened as a result of me just following my guidance and my intuition and going to a crystal and mineral fair in San Francisco. And as soon as I walked in, this incredibly beautiful crystal just called out to me. And I asked the vendor what it was, and I believe that was the first time that in this lifetime I heard the term Lemurian seed crystal, and it was fascinating. And so I acquired that crystal, and then another one, which as I was at the register, the other one literally called out to me clairaudiently for me to take it home, and that crystal really became a key and a doorway to unlock information within me. And I started, my intuition increased, my healing powers increased. I was doing massage at that time. And when working with the Lemurian seed crystal, it allowed me to really open up to my divine calling and be guided, have my soul be guided to further opening. So it was like a continual snowballing of awakening that began simply by bringing one of these two crystals into my energy field. And then they just do this energy work that just opens up and clears blockages, like just by having them with you. They're very powerful that way. So that's really how it started. Pretty humble beginnings, because I had no idea what was on the other side of that awakening at the time.
No, and thank you for sharing that, because it's always important to sort of learn sort of where things sort of how they came about. So were you tuned into the crystals, or did you go and learn more about them from another source?
A little bit of both. It all happened very quickly when I was 26 years old, or 25, 26. The first crystal that consciously connected with me in my adult life was actually an amethyst point. And I went into a store and it literally pulled me towards it from across the store, like an invisible pulley to my third eye. And I bought it, and I just intuitively started working with it and doing a mantra, the discipline of the 40 days with the mala, saying a mantra. And I held that amethyst in my hand. And during that time, these blockages and these fears just came up and dissolved. Like demons would come into my face, and I would just not break concentration, and they dissolve. And that really, I think, cleared the way to have these Lemurian beings call to me and attract me to them. So I had to do some legwork to clear out my psyche and increase my vibration in order to be able to receive and start working with these. But very shortly after, the first Lemurians came into my field, and then it was just, I started doing research on it. I found this interesting book, and I just started channeling information, just receiving information about Lemuria and Lemurians, and even a little bit about Atlantis. And I have some early channeled work about the way that the civilizations were structured, and just like sort of this knowingness of what happened. Like, as I look back now, it's information that I feel has always been with me, that I can't remember a time where I didn't know it. And so it's really hard for me to forensically see where the stuff emerged. But I will say at that same time, it intersected with me connecting with universal white time gemstone healing, which does have initiations that remove blockages and connect you directly to crystalline consciousness. And if it wasn't for that class and that initiation, I don't believe I would have really received the download to create and develop my own classes that originate from the ancient healing practices of Lemuria. So it all came together in a very short period of time when I was in my mid-20s, and it was an awakening. It was really wonderful.
It's amazing when we get things and they happen, and it's just like, but I don't know about you, but it was, why me? But a little bit of so Lemuria, is that been a place here on Earth like Atlantis, or is it sort of something that is what people would say comes from the stars?
So that's a great question, and it was an actual civilization that existed on this planet, located in the Pacific Ocean. And Hawaii, the Hawaiian Islands, are the above sea level remaining landmass of ancient Lemuria. There is, I referenced a book. It's called Studying the Past to Survive the Present, Lemuria and Atlantis by Shirley Andrews. And she does this phenomenal job at gathering geographical, anthropological, and sociological information about these two ancient civilizations. And if you're curious, really go and read that book, because that was a real eye opener for the skeptic. And there's examples of ancient monoliths in the Pacific Ocean. The short story is there was a subcontinent above sea level, but this big magma flow underneath it migrated, and that kind of caused the subcontinent to slowly start sinking. And what I received, and I'm just going to go right in now, the channels that I received are, this was known, and that they knew that whatever civilization they built would eventually come to an end. The higher beings do have this awareness of being able to see all time and the future and the past, and be able to anticipate. Like this time, for example, this time of awakening, they knew that our solar system will be passing through this photon belt, right? The plasma field, whatever you want to say, which is triggering a rapid evolution of our cellular and atomic structure, which is leading to this rapid spiritual awakening. So the higher beings, I'm getting to answer your question, the star beings, they got together, our local neighbors and some from farther away, they teamed up and they seeded the Lemurian civilization at a time when it was possible for the body to be more bioluminescent. So there were more strands of DNA active, there were more abilities, there was more power, there was more light. But they knew that the light would eventually decrease, the civilization would collapse, that literally would be submerged by cataclysmic volcanic eruptions. And they started a campaign to preserve their knowledge and get it into the Akashic record of the human on the earth. It was like implanting this information that would be available to us now, accessed through secondary crystals that are now known as the Lemurian Seed Crystals. And this is the information that came to me, and I'm pretty sure other people that work with Lemurians would agree. Every time I read some writing or channeling from some other source, it's pretty much the same thing, which for me is confirmation enough. And I just love the ability to be able to share this knowledge with people, sincerely, with no agenda, just matter-of-factly. This is part of our human history of ancient Lemuria and Atlantis as well, which some other people are more expert on Atlantis, but I had some pretty direct lifetimes and significant lifetimes in Lemuria that later on came to be known to me quite recently. You said the why me. Well, I'm still dealing with that right now with what I discovered about myself and some of the positions I held in the civilization. I'm like, why me? I'm dealing with that now, which is kind of funny. So, but anyway, yeah, so I think that answered your question. So there was star beings involved and the humans as well. And yes, a real actual civilization existed. And there is a lot still in the astral and higher dimensions as well that is preserved. And there are spiritual Lemurian master guides that are willing to work with us, and also ones in Peru under Lake Titicaca, and then of course up in Mount Shasta, which is really interesting. That's a really interesting branch of the Lemurian descendants, because they're uninterrupted fifth dimensional beings that went underground when Lemuria went folded in on itself. So
you've just mentioned Lake Titicaca. Now, am I right in thinking that you were actually there last year?
Yes, that was a life-changing experience and also life-confirming. My cells, my DNA just vibrated and just became alive with this, my soul's history. It's my ancestry. My own eternal soul has very strong imprints there. The whole Peruvian sacred spiritual structure and society and civilization, they know and they derive themselves from ancient Lemurians that emerged out of Lake Titicaca, which is a lava tube that when they had to take refuge when the subcontinent was collapsing. There was this diaspora, and they kind of ended up around the Ring of Fire in different ways, shapes, and forms. But yeah, the Peruvians, they believe their ancestors are Lemurian, and there are some active portals near Lake Titicaca where you can still connect with the Lady of the Lake and these high spiritual beings that were prevalent and active during the time of Lemuria. And the Lemurians brought the sun disk, the famous Incan sun disk. Actually, it has Lemurian origins. Yeah, so they're very connected. And being there was such a wonderful experience. Just being able to feel natural and get right back into what I was doing. Just like with my toning and bowls and activating the portals again with crystals and attuning them so that the people that come through, well, they'll receive that resonance and those keys. Those frequency codes that will unlock the information that they carry within their DNA of their ancestry, whether it was Lemuria or not. It's all about unlocking the stored knowledge within us, within our own DNA, of our countless lifetimes, past lifetimes of mastery. That's really what the Lemurians bring out and focus. They specifically target the information stored within you that you have garnered through lifetimes of discipline and developing your soul. for use at this time to bring it here, bring it online, and share it with the world to lift us all up to a higher frequency known as the new earth.
And it's so important that we do, because, personally, my feeling is that there are an awful lot of souls here at this point in time who haven't always been here on Earth. They've had lifetimes and experiences on other planets and other star systems, etc. So it's not about earthbound souls. It's about the fact that it's way bigger. It's vast.
Yes.
And it's being open to the fact that there is so much more than we are aware of from this tiny little planet.
Yeah, I received a download on the plane here to Miami, and in my journal about the way that the Lemurians trigger and activate higher levels of the DNA, which if you read Mary Rodwell's work, The New Human and Awakenings, and she talks to a lot of geneticist whistleblowers who say that all that other DNA that, traditional scientists consider junk DNA is actually very high sophisticated extraterrestrial programming. And that is also what the Lemurians activate, so that we can remember our interstellar ancestry. And there's so many people I know who are incarnated Pleiadians, incarnated Syrians, or from Orion. All of our galactic neighbors, they're incarnating. And those souls are very special because they carry the direct star vibrations, the star seeds. And when they become awakened and they emit their frequency, they're bringing the heavens down to earth. Other people, such as myself, who are very ancient, like the ancient ones that have been around since Lemuria, we have experienced the human experience in its fullest, and we've come here to kind of finish up what we started and be a support to these other beings that came in to this dense planet, which it is very dense. That's the challenge and the opportunity. They struggle a lot, and to be able to give them that vibrational support to connect with their soul essence and bring that out and nurture them and nourish them into their own greatness. It's just a wonderful service. Lots of people are coming to Earth because of what's happening, the change, for many, many different reasons and from many, many different places. But there are, Earth, I would say Earth-bound. I'm not exactly bound, but, we decided we came here on with a very specific mission that was very long, a long game plan. And right now is the time to get all of our pieces and sort of cash in, right? To get to that next level and close this chapter and move into the higher expression of the human growth and evolution as a spiritual being, re-entering itself into reclaiming its place in the galactic cosmos, so to speak. Yeah. So
share a little more about the actual crystals themselves. Is there the specific energies, the way they work, or just anything to do with the actual crystals? Because I know there will be people who are fascinated about crystals anyway.
So there is there are very unique and specific physical characteristics of the majority of Lemurian seed crystals. And this one here is a really good example. You can see as I turn these horizontal striations, it looks like a laser has cut them into the side of this crystal. These are 100% naturally formed. This crystal is 100% natural in its faces, its facets, and its characteristics. And I'm going to zero in on these ridges, these striations, because in here it literally is. It's like a barcode that is tattooed onto the surface of the crystal, and it's vibrational, and the vibration is really what stimulates and shakes and wakes up and allows the DNA to express itself, to release energy that releases blockages. We all have blockages in our energy fields. That's why we don't remember our past incarnations, right? Earth itself, when you incarnate on Earth, every human being has a collection of the same blockages to allow us our journey of growth and awakening. When you remove all of the blockages, you are in complete alignment and direct contact with source consciousness, and you are essentially at that point an ascended master when you've also integrated all of the chakras into you. Getting ahead of myself, these Lemurian seed crystals, this information has been encoded in them their entire life while they were forming in proximity to these multi-dimensional master crystals that are the construct of the ancient Lemurian priest healers campaign. So they put all of the knowledge in these multi-dimensional crystals and these vibrations, and anything that was in the vicinity of them in these certain special places around the planet would form and be encoded with that resonance. And so it's very simple. You can accelerate by physically touching it, but really all you need to do is have a Lemurian in your field, and the resonance will open up. Some Lemurians are cut and polished, and they lose the physical definition, but it's still in there holographically. So it's a very high vibrational technology that was used to create and program the crystals. There needs to be knowledge of the human DNA, knowledge of crystalline growth structure, how it works, and how it opens up, and what it does. And this is all information that not just the Lemurians, but the star races who have mastered crystal healing for thousands of years, millions of years, they all came together to put this knowledge into these master crystals for the benefit of us now. And the Lemurians, we'll pause right there. And if I need more clarification, we can go, but there's some more stuff I could share about them as well. More subtle characteristics.
You also talk about sound energy. So do you work with sound with them as well?
Well, in a sense, crystals are every vibration is a sound, and the supersonic frequency that this is generating is that this is emitting is working on us right now. You can even feel it through the screen. You can really connect with these. But I do use sound also. I channel frequencies with my voice, and those really just accelerate the whole process. They amplify the energy, they make it stronger, they make it higher, and they make it quicker. And anyone can tone and intone just by inhaling and making a sound that is charging your body at the cellular and molecular level. And the higher the vibration, the higher the charge of the cells, the easier it is to release these blockages. And you can have awakenings at any time. It's just like the certain frequency will just trigger and release. It's fascinating how it happens. And I truly believe the intuition is not only just the guide, but it is the key. Because your cells know, they will lead you to what they vibrate with. Like attracts like. And it's just a basic principle of physics of this universe, that like attracts like. And you need to match the frequency, or allow the frequency to match you. So not all Lemurians will resonate with everyone. Lemurians actually, they will convince people into buying them or gifting them or moving them to get to who they want to work with, because they can match a specific person who may very well have been in ancient Lemuria planning this reunion in this lifetime. I've seen that happen when I placed a crystal in people's hands, and they're like it was beautiful to see this shaman. She remembered making that crystal or planning to connect with that crystal, and her whole awareness of her past lives just came immediately available to her, like just a computer program starting up in her brain. It was incredible. Yeah.
So how
I can
long
talk about this forever.
ago was Lemuria?
So there's a lot of I don't have a specific. There is some thought that it predated Atlantis, other thoughts that it coincided with Atlantis. or that there were several iterations of the Lemurian civilization dating way back. And so it ended at least before 13,000 years ago, but my guides and sources say at least 100,000 years ago, possibly millions. And because people ask me, well, how could the Lemurian seed crystals grow and be encoded in such a short time? Because it takes millions of years for crystals to grow. And I'll tell you, as far as I know, the Lemurians were able to manipulate time. They would accelerate time. And the Lemurian seed crystals, I have one in particular, I have several, that the rate of self-healing is visible. They grow so fast that much more than other slow-growing minerals. It's remarkable. One of the first ones that I acquired, the tip that was broken off from the matrix is almost completely healed in a complete matrix, and I show it to people. It's surprising. So, I'd say, and to me, if someone asked me that truthfully, and no disrespect to someone who's really interested, to me it doesn't really matter. Because what matters is the present moment. What matters is what we do with this information. There's a lot of specific, detail-hungry people who want to know all of that, and that's great for the mind. But for the heart and the soul, it's inconsequential because the soul itself is eternal. And we just decided to take this detour on Earth and see what was happening for a couple hundred lifetimes or so, and just then we'll go back and we'll zip up to our tourists or whatever and help another civilization on another planet that's preparing to ascend, get with their acceleration. So, we are one of the big planets that's going through this huge shift right now, but other planets have done it in the past. There's some beings that are in our solar system who are fifth dimensional now. They recently went through that process, and they're sound beings, the Hathors, right? Who Tom Kenyon, the world sound healer, works with, and they're hanging out in the fifth dimension on Venus, giving us support because they know what their ascension looked like, and they have a good idea of what our ascension might look like. So there's a lot of allies who are rooting for us out in the universe, and a lot of allies that have incarnated on this planet in the past to ensure the success. So.
The reason for asking about the time scale was sort of because you said that the crystals have to, they weren't formed overnight, and it's just, and you're actually sort of saying it's got nothing to do with the timing, because at the end of the day, time isn't like this anyway. It's like that. So it's all happening at the same time. So
that's correct.
But I can really appreciate that there are people. Hang on, it's all happening at the same time. So Lemuria and sort of now, or it's just like, but it doesn't compute in the human brain. But no, so it was just about So the crystals themselves, yes, of course, they are a vibration. We are a vibration. Sound is a vibration. Everything is a vibration. And if we were able to actually not break the vibration down, but to see it as a vibration, even the wall at the side of me sort of wouldn't be solid. But we obviously, for this experience, require that solidity for us to be able to have the experience. So that actually, the thought that just came in then was that explains why the crystals can heal themselves, because it isn't about being solid, is it? It's about the vibration. It's about that movement of energy. And that's why it can support us in so many ways as well.
Yes. The crystals, they do still grow. Plants grow. You take a shoot of a plant, put it in some water, and it will grow roots, and you'll have a new plant because you've given it the water. Crystals, of course, their food source is a different bandwidths of the complete spectrum of cosmic life force energy. And as humans, we have our individual expressions as well. And when we get sick, even mentally sick, those things get out of tune, or there's a lack of those vibrations. That's why you need vitamin supplements for deficiencies. Same thing for vibration. And crystals are very pure, strong expressions of aspects of that bandwidth that can help you restore the balance of your own vibration. Lemurians, in a sense, they help to not only restore, but to open and align and activate higher aspects of yourself, higher aspects, higher organizational, intelligent organizations of your DNA blueprint or the codex that you have. And yes, and my guides say that sometimes some of the crystals were growing, but then when the Lemurians put the master crystals, they started receiving that information, like sort of they were like given it as the crystals were. You know what I mean? It's not just, I don't know, whatever. Again, it doesn't really matter. They're kind of like, my guides are like this, like going like this right now because they didn't want to answer that question. They're really fun guides, actually. They have a great sense of humor, and crystals do too. You know, imagine being dependent on getting someone to listen to them to intuitively move, right? If you're sitting in a room and you want to go across the room and you just sit there and you can't do anything except project it with your mind, to have someone come over and pick you up and move you over. I mean, crystals have to have some sort of humor, otherwise they would go crazy.
It's accepting that there is humor is actually meant to be part of, and a very important part of having this experience, because what is, you know, sort of laughter is the best medicine, you know, sort of, and there's a little saying that it's laughter is a smile that burst, you know, sort of, but it is about enjoying the experiences that we have, having fun with the sound energy, and I love doing that.
Yeah.
It's sort of, you know, sort of having sort of sound gatherings and sort of, and sometimes there's been so much laughter and sort of people are looking at us. No, laughter is a sound that is missing from too many lives. So, and, you know, people who adore crystals and people who work with crystals are on the chakras, our energy centers. It's ensuring that we are working with the purest energy of those crystals, though, that they are sort of, they're cleansed, they're sort of, then they're re-energized. And I know that sound works with that, with crystals, you know, sort of, and toning, because that is one of the things that I do is tone. So, and I know that I've sort of had somebody hold a crystal and who is sensitive enough. I'm not sensitive enough. I just don't get those feelings. It's just that I'm a knower, not a feeler or a hearer or a seer. And I toned to a crystal. I said, right, now feel the difference of that. And it was just like, and they could feel the difference, the before and after. I remember years ago walking into a crystal shop. The place was filthy. There was so much, the energies, and I'm not somebody who feels things, but my God, the energies in there, I was just delighted to get out and just be able to sit in the car and be able to breathe. So it's really important that if you're thinking about going and sort of getting yourself sort of any crystal, that you source ethically sourced crystals, but you think about, feel the energy you're buying it, as well as the actual crystals of which ones are speaking to you.
Yeah. There's a certain integrity that you want to look for when the crystal is farmed. Is the farming sustainable? What is the intention of the family, for example, that I've connected with that owns a Lemurian mine in Brazil? They have a lot of integrity and respect for taking these crystals out, and then they transport them and they distribute them with care, with love, and so when I receive them, they already have that imprint of that love and that value, in a sense. Whereas, you know, some manufacturers just see it as a commodity like beans, and they don't have any clue or concept of the importance of the energetic integrity. And you know, you have a choice. I do, and I've been known to rescue crystals. Like people have rescue dogs. I'll go into these places and they'll like help me. And sometimes one time I did rescue one from a tattoo parlor in the Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco, and it turned out to be connected to Archangel Uriel, which was really nice. And then one other time it was horrible. It was like the crystal store was like a hoarder's hoard. And all the crystals were piled and piled and piled on top of each other with layers of dust. And I connected with one and I held it, and I didn't want to take it. But what I did is when I left there, I conjured it multidimensionally, sent healing and cleansing to that crystal. And then I had that crystal amplify the healing to all of the other crystals in that store to really clear them energetically. Now, I didn't use sound, but I used light. And you can also clear crystals with strong light and thought and the love from your heart. But it's always important to first feel the integrity of the source of buying the crystals. And there's no shame in turning around, because people will buy those stones because those people are comfortable in that not so clear energy. And that'll be part of their journey as they awaken and create the challenges for themselves to purify and become more refined and more of a light and a higher expression. So, everything has its place, and we need to remember that not every place is for everyone, and you can choose what place you want or what level you want to engage and interact in energetically.
So when because I'm guessing that you make sure the energies of your crystals are as high as possible at all times. So do you have a particular method, or you talked about calling in light rather than actually using sound on that occasion? So because I think really sort of sharing with people that there are so many different methods.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say use sunlight, but there are some crystals you actually can't do with sunlight.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say full moon energy, sound, light, love. They're all. So what's your favorite way, I suppose, working with them?
There are many, many ways to clear crystals. I developed one with my Lemurian guides that I really like to do, and I do a lot. And it's a lot of intention involving gold light and an affirmation, and then crystals, just play around with them like a kid, make some like like they can. When I clean them, I'll sing little things to them. Sunlight is great. There's something we teach in White Time called the golden movement. It generates a very strong force that heals and restores. But if there's time, and if people want to, it's kind of an elaborate ritual. I usually stand in front of a mirror and I take the crystal and I hold it in my hands like this, and I put it up to my third eye and I make a connection, and I say this. I say, from the great creator being of divine love and light that I am, I hereby clear and cleanse this crystal of all energies, attachments, histories, and programs that may be within it that are not of its highest expression of light and original manifestation. And then I hold it and I bring down a golden beam of light into the crystal, and I visualize this white milky substance being sort of melted, oozing out of it into the earth. And I do that until the crystal begins to pulse in my hands. And then I bring it down to my heart and I bless it. And I say, thank you for choosing to work with me. And I synergistically, harmonically attune you to be in alignment with the highest expression of the work that we're going to do together. And and then the crystal is harmonically attuned to my vibration, and it's clear of all energies that are not inherently within it or within its highest potential. And that's the one that I've developed over years, and I have a lot of success. I do it with whole bags of tumbled stones that I buy. Sometimes I'll have one carnelian and I'll cleanse the entire consciousness of carnelian, for example. You can do a lot with it. The mind is so powerful. As long as you really believe, and you believe with your heart and your mind and your soul, you can clear just as the snap of the finger when you get good at it. It's about like building a muscle.
See, I work with the dragons that guard over the Earth's crystals. And I channel from them on a monthly basis. And, so those that I've worked with so far, they've given me their names as well. And there's the masculine and the feminine, the A for the feminine and the double I for the masculine. And so for me, it's very much asking the energies of the crystals through the dragons, because I know I'm getting the purest energy of the crystal. I don't actually physically have to have the crystal. We can ask. So it's just like,
oh yeah.
And I suppose I was thinking about the dragons when before we started the program, I suddenly thought, it was just a thought that popped into my head that said, but you've got the energy of a Lemurian seed crystal right in your own heart. And it's just like, okay, so I've got my dowsing pendulum out, which is a crystal. And so it's like, okay, am I right about this? And it was just like, oh yes, and so it's trusting how you wish to work with different energies, whatever they are. And so the title was Lemurian Seed Crystals and the Mastery Within. And I think you've very much spoken to that, is the fact that they can support us to open to the wisdom that we already have within us.
Absolutely. That is how they were designed. The ascension to the new earth is, it hinges upon the individual reaching their full expression of individuality. It's recognizing and honoring each expression of individual consciousness is so important and valid, and that the best thing that one can do for oneself is to develop their own passions, their creative expressions, their own way of doing things, their own spiritual philosophy, their own everything. And we all have those tools and all of those ingredients within us. And it's breaking out of the programming of conformity that we all face. And the Lemurian seed crystals, they're giving me this word, which is weird, exacerbate the ability to claim your own authenticity by igniting what's already within you. And that, at least in this lifetime, in this time of transformation and awakening, that is the primary objective for most people that are conscious of the evolution of the consciousness that's occurring. Because not everyone on the planet signed up to participate in this way. They benefit from it. There's a lot of people that surf. They surf the wave, right? But there's people right behind them that are just floating along on the wave. And there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever the soul wants to express and experience in this lifetime. But for those of us who are pushing, who are at the forefront of that wave, that tsunami of awakening, it's vital that we integrate and connect with as many resources as possible to help sustain us through this difficult energetic breakthrough. And that's really what it is. And then the byproduct of that is joy, is health, is happiness, is peace. When you do what you love to do, you automatically capitulate yourself into such a high vibration of living, of expression, and that just attracts more of that. And that's really what it is. It's about purifying and uplifting the vibration as you walk through the world, as you walk down the street, as you walk through the store. You might not be doing what you love, but that vibration of being who you truly are is a powerful alignment with the source consciousness that just amplifies the return of the expression of the God source. I forgot what it was, but someone said, we're here to our gift. God gave us gifts, and our gift to God is to express them, right? In a sense like that. So, yeah.
Yep, 100%. You know, we're here to unwrap that gift and share it with everyone.
Yeah. With laughter, it's not stuffy or serious, like the boom, 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 all of that like that guru, like meditate for like 40 hours a day, like 9 years, 40 years. They don't have time for that anymore. There's shortcuts. Like we've done that in past lives. That's why I did one mantra meditation, and I removed so many blockages because I just tapped into those years and lifetimes of discipline in that one moment that just came through and like opened everything that I had. And this is for everyone who just sits and aligns with anything that you might be interested in. It'll exponentially express itself rapidly. We are in an accelerated time, so it's important to remember that a little thing goes a very long way, and so a tiny little thought has huge, influence. So make sure you're doing happy thoughts. So
yeah, happy thoughts and trust yourself. Oh, you're there. We lost you for a second.
I know.
We've come to the end of the
program. No, I'm here. I'm just looking at the time.
Yeah. No. Well, we've come to the end of the program. But before we let you go, anything that we haven't touched on? I know you mentioned a book that you're going to be sharing a little bit of information within that is coming out next month. So anything you'd like to share before we actually close?
That's really it. I mean, you can go to my website and find out what I'm doing, but I just want to give some more advice. Just allow yourself to explore and follow your passion. That's it.
Oh,
follow your passion.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And I've put your website, crystalmusichealing.com. It's in the chat. I will also put it under your video. So folks, if you're watching via YouTube, you'll find it under the video there in the information. Bradford, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure, and I know you and I are going to be talking again soon sometime. This has been great. And our connection with sound energy as well. So thank you so very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Thank you,
Sarah Jane.
Next week, we've got today's conversation, the gifts of wisdom found within life's experiences. And for this particular program, myself and Scott are being joined by Jennifer Sproul and Sue Ernst. And we've all been authors in the book Gifts of Wisdom, and we're going to be sharing more of our wisdom in next week's program. Thank you to each and everyone. Thank you to you, Bradford. And take care, be safe, stay well. Namaste, sweet souls. Bye.